If they don't get to see you, but they can hear you, you at least help check an important box of, I feel like I can trust this person, and he's going to look out for my best interest. I believe in order to be successful selling anything, there's two qualities that all high-level salespeople have: ego and empathy. So ego is not cockiness, it's confidence, right? We talked about that expert. You have to have a little of that because sales is a transference of energy. And if they don't believe you're certain, they can never be certain. Certainty is the most important energy you could transfer. So you have to have a little bit of that. You got to have swagger about you. They got to know they're dealing with somebody that knows his shit. But you got to pair it with empathy. And sympathy is, I'm sorry for what you're going through. Empathy is, I understand what you're going through. I've also gone through that. And it's important that they know that we buy cars too. We're just like them. It's not like we're always on this side of the desk, right? Some of us buy more cars than they buy. So we're just the same. You know, there was a study they did in nursing school. It was nurses who were eventually going to work with the elderly. And they had a weekend homework assignment for them. They sent them home, and throughout the entire weekend, they had to do one thing. They had to walk around with marbles in their socks. They had to walk around with marbles in their socks. And they did that for a reason. They did that so that they could understand and have more empathy for the elderly, that just something so little, like aches and pains in their feet, could really disrupt their entire day. And they did that by design. And it allowed them to have a little bit more empathy so when they're working with those people and they're saying, oh, my feet are bothering me, they're not just like, hell with your feet. They knew what it felt like. So ego and empathy is super important. Number 2 that I have on this list is resourcefulness. So you just start selling cars and you say to yourself, well, and not that you guys are just starting, but people would say, well, how am I going to be confident? I don't know anything. Confident in what? I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the experience, right? They say experience is something you gain usually right after you needed it the most. You gain it after the fact. But resourcefulness is what makes a great salesperson. The ability to think on your toes. And if you're going to be confident, it's not confident that you know everything. It's confident that you're not going to stop till you find the answer. That's even better. I'd rather have the guy that knows 20%, but he's going to 100% find out for me, than the guy that knows 80%, but if I ask that 20% he doesn't know, he's not going to get the answer. I'd rather take the guy with 20% that's going to find it for me. So you have to have resourcefulness, and we talked about EQ and IQ. You have to have emotional intelligence. Keeping your cool is so important because the second they see you sweat, you lost. They can't see it. They can't see you sweat. You have to remain composed because their emotional intelligence is very low coming into this. Their walls up. They're guarded. They have a playbook, right? They read chapters, 1 of how to buy a car. They got a couple plays they drew up, right? And the funny part about it is, if you can exceed their expectations, if you could throw them a curveball, if you could just be different than what they expect, guess what happens to that playbook? It goes out the window. Quarterback, he's got a play drawn up. It's going to be a great play. It's going to be a fade route, a 10-inch slant, this, that. Gets hit with a blitz. His human instincts kick in. He's got to get out of the pocket. He's got to run. The play's out the window. Their human instincts will kick in if you do one very important thing, and that's build a human connection. We have a physiological need for human connection. We're tribal beings. We've evolved from living in tribes. Now more than ever, it's so important because all day we're on this thing by ourselves. Now, we have the luxury of actually being around people every day, but some people sit in a cubicle for 10 hours a day. They don't talk to anybody in person. They work from home. They don't talk to anybody. We have this need for human connection, and they don't even know it, but they need it now more than ever, and it feels right to them. And if you could tap into that, it's so important. And the transparency part of it is paired with that because now more than ever, we see so much on social media. We have so much access to information, but we don't know what's what. What's real, what's not. Is this video fake? Who's posting this? Is this propaganda? Was this photoshopped? We lack so much transparency in our life. We're always guessing if this is a real thing. But if you can come off as genuine, a real person to them, the sales skyrocket. They just do. And it's so much more important now than ever because they have so little human connection compared to what they used to have. People It's so funny. I was meeting with a direct mail company yesterday, and I said, I want to do a mail piece. And he goes, yeah, a lot of guys aren't doing them anymore. I said, well, me personally, I have 100 emails a day. I don't even read them. But if you send me an attractive piece of mail, I'm going to look at it. It's more novel now, right? Like you could see the tides changing back a little bit. The phone, talking on the phone, people don't do it as much anymore. They barely do it. That's the second best way for you to actually demonstrate and create a visualization as to what type of person you are or what type of salesperson they're going to deal with when they come in. If they don't get to see you, but they can hear you, you at least help check an important box of, I feel like I can trust this person and he's going to look out for my best interest.